Hi, my name is Sawan and I'm working on Maggie the Magnet. It's a physics-based platformer about experimenting with magnetic attraction, gravity and all that scientific jazz. The first thing I did after returning back to this game was changing the way Maggie interacts with the floor. I made the collision box of the floor tile smaller than the image used for it, so now it looks like the magnet is actually sitting on the floor instead of levitating above it. I also eliminated the issue causing the magnet to fly through the floor before appearing on top of it, which by the way is fixed by changing a single parameter inside Unity. Finally, Maggie is now a little bouncier than before, which makes moving around the levels a bit more fun. All of these tricks were borrowed from Blow and Fly, another physics-based game that I released not so long ago. After these changes were in place, I started working on the game's art. All the images I previously saw in this devlog series were drawn by Anatoly Loginovskih, and since I'm continuing the development of the game on my own, I wanted to also make it feel like it was my own. I took a screenshot of what I had in the game at that point of time and tried to come up with a new color palette by applying different filters to it in Photoshop. It wasn't long before I realized that this method wasn't working at all, so I googled scientific laboratories and tried to come up with a different palette that could represent this sort of environment. I am a big fan of minimalism, so in my eyes, the less colors, the better. That's why I chose analogous colors, which aren't too different from each other, but different enough to make objects stand out. With that idea in mind, I tried to draw different images for the floor and wall tiles, adding more and more lines to each variation. After playtesting the game with them in place, I concluded that in this case more detailed tiles are somehow less distracting than the less detailed ones, so that's what I decided to use. Later I added some shadows to the game objects and tiles, just like in the initial mockup, and that made them pop out of the background even more. Finally, I made the objects cast shadows not only on the background, but also on the floor. Admittedly, the shadows I implemented don't look very realistic, but I think they make the game much more appealing anyway. And the last step of Maggie the Magnet's transformation was coming up with suitable backgrounds. Just like with the tiles I mentioned earlier, I for some reason found the more detailed backgrounds to be less distracting than the less detailed ones, so here's how the game looks like right now. As you can see, I kept the art style pretty simple, and that's because of a certain feature I want to implement later. I'll definitely talk about it in one of the future videos. In the meanwhile, if you like what I'm doing, please consider joining our Patreon club, where I frequently release sneak peeks and other updates about the games I'm currently working on. I'm trying my best to make this blog something I'd be excited to follow myself, and I'll do everything to make sure you never regret supporting my products. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Farewell.